The next speaker, and I want everybody in the room for him, and let me tell you why. In 2010, I endorsed Ken Buck for the United States Senate in Colorado, and it was a year where the National Republican Senatorial Committee spent a nice chunk of cash beating him up in the primary and then didn't have any money to help him in the general election. And he only lost by a couple percentage points when every other Republican in Colorado went down in flames by double-digit margins. He won independents, he won Republicans. He did an excellent job across the state, but it wasn't meant to be. And interestingly enough, God has a plan. And shortly after that defeat, Ken was diagnosed with cancer. And he fought and he won, and now he's running for Congress. Cory Gardner is running for the U.S. Senate, and Ken is running for the 4th Congressional District in Colorado. I have known Ken and his wife for a number of years. I don't hold it against them that their daughter went to Clemson. Their son is fighting to keep us free in the military and is just a true American hero. And Ken has been a district attorney in Colorado. He knows firsthand the effects of progressivism in the states, being a district attorney in Colorado. He is a good, fine Christian man. He is a good conservative. He's a very funny guy. And most of all, he's a guy who he reaches out to me all the time in the middle of life's turmoils with him, and he wants to know how my family's doing and wants to stay in touch and make sure I'm okay. I want to make sure he's okay, but I also want to make sure he's in the next Congress. Please, ladies and gentlemen, give a great warm welcome to a friend of mine, Ken Buck.
Well, thank you very much. Did you probably didn't hear what Eric said when he walked away? He said, "Don't screw up." How is that for a great friend of mine? I love that. My wife is here somewhere. Where is my wife? There she is. Would you folks say hi to my wife, please? Perry is in the State House in Colorado and was recently voted one of the 3 most conservative members of the State House. And, you know, that's great. Unfortunately, in Colorado, we have a minority. And so they're passing crazy things, and we're dealing with marijuana and all kinds of things. But Perry, I thought I was going to be a romantic husband. So 5 years ago on Valentine's Day, I bought Perry a 9mm pistol. And gentlemen, I got to tell you something right now. Don't do it. It has been a game changer in our relationship. I am a much more polite husband now than I was before I bought that gun for my wife. I want to introduce my children also. They're not with me, but my son Cody graduated from West Point in 2011, and he is he's with a cavalry scout unit in, right now he's in Fort Riley. And my daughter Caitlin graduated from Clemson University in 2013, and she is in the oil and gas industry in Colorado. And I want to show you a picture of them. That's at Cody's graduation from West Point. And just in case y'all wonder whether we have passed down our gun values to our kids, I want to show you a picture we're going to be using for a billboard in Colorado. I am privileged to be at this podium. I am particularly grateful to RedState and Eric Erickson and Aaron Gardner for inviting me. You know, the RedState gathering is a great place, a great setting to talk about the topic that I want to discuss today, because at RedState there is a special commitment to the faith that sustains us, the values we hold dear, and the obligations that matter most. And these are purchased by proclaiming the one tool that cannot be contradicted, the truth. And by proclaiming the truth, RedState is indeed fostering faith, family, and freedom, and teaching citizenship, and renewing the spirit of 1776. Folks, I came here 4 years ago when I was running for the United States Senate. I came to Dallas, Fort Worth Airport, got into a hotel in Dallas around 9 o'clock at night, and I realized that I had to get some exercise in, and so the gym closed at 10, and I rushed up to my room. I got some gym clothes on. I got to the gym, and I got on the treadmill. And it was one of those foo-foo kinds of places where they have the TV in the treadmill, you know, and they have those foo-foo earphones, and I don't have foo-foo earphones. And so I'm running on the treadmill, and the guy next to me has earphones, and he's watching the TV. And I see my picture come up on the TV. Can we? Yeah. That's what I saw. Now, can you imagine, you can't hear what's going on, but you look over and you see your own picture and that caption on the picture. And so I'm running, and the guy next to me is running, and I'm running, and he's running. He looks over at me. Then he looks down at his TV. And then this next picture comes up. It's the president of the Ken Buck fan club, Keith Olbermann. And it's MSNBC. And I'm running, and he's running, and he looks over at me again. And all of a sudden he has a scowl on his face, and I can't hear what's going on. And he pushes the button on his treadmill to stop, and he pulls the plug, and he walks away. And I'm thinking, what did he say? Well, I had a fundraiser in Dallas in the morning, and Austin at lunch, and Houston in the evening, and then I was off back to Colorado, and my next days were just as crazy. And I never did find out what happened until I was coming back to Dallas, Fort Worth area for this, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to find out what that was about. And so I did. And it was kind of interesting to me and kind of ironic in some ways. I looked at the video, and I also pulled up an article. And this is what the article had to say. VA hospitals are considered among the best in the country, and in sticking to his inflexible Tea Party, privatize everything dogma, Ken Buck proposes screwing it up just to curry a few votes from easily led conservatives. Olbermann excoriated. Now, I'm not smart enough to know what the word excoriated means, but I'm taking it that is not a good word. He did not give me a compliment when he said that. And my reaction to that is, seriously? 4 years later, seriously? Winston Churchill said, the truth is incontrovertible. Malice may attack it, ignorance may deride it, but in the end, there it is. And folks, in the end, there it is. The truth is that the VA hospital system has been mismanaged for years. And I had veterans coming up to talk to me about this in Colorado for years. And we are hurting the people who deserve government help more than anybody else in this country. Veterans had to wait online for months, sometimes years. Veterans died waiting for treatment. That is an absolute embarrassment. And the best that the liberals can do is attack me for saying, if we can improve care, maybe we should look at privatizing it. And then what a wonderful timing this is. This is a God thing to me. Last week, there was a bill passed in Congress. And I was reading a Wall Street Journal editorial about the bill. And in the Wall Street editorial, it said, Democrats agreed that $10 billion, because of course, folks, the way to solve any problem in D.C. is to throw money at it. Democrats agreed that $10 billion could go to fund private care for veterans. What a concept. And I have to tell you, healthcare is important to me. A year ago, March 2013, I was diagnosed with cancer. I was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. I had 22 tumors in my neck. I had 12 tumors under my arm. I had cancer on my spleen and cancer on 8 different bones in my body. The doctor said to me that I had a 50-50 chance of survival, and that if I didn't have chemo, I would be dead in 3 months. I went into a doctor on a Wednesday and said, "Doc, I've got a lump here near my collarbone." He felt it and he said, "Let's get an ultrasound." I had the ultrasound on Thursday. I said to the technician, I said, "Ma'am, is it a boy or a girl?" She looked at me and she said, "I've been doing this 25 years. I've heard that joke every single day." I'm the one with cancer and I'm trying to cheer you up and you react that way? Friday, I had an MRI. Monday, I was in surgery. They took out one of the tumors. They put it under a microscope, determined what kind of cancer it was. Wednesday, I had a PET scan. Friday, I had my first chemo. I was on a 21-day schedule. I had 3 chemos over 42 days. They did another PET scan. There was not a trace of cancer in my body. That's a God thing. God is great. It is also a tribute to the quality of care that we have in this country. And if we allow Obamacare to ruin the health care system in this country, shame on us as Americans. And just like the Veterans Administration Hospital situation, we've got to make sure that we tell the truth. We tell the truth through RedState. We tell the truth to our neighbors, our kids, friends. We tell the truth in this country. We took a picture of, just in August of last year, a year ago, with one of our heroes, my wife and I. And I have to tell you, that's a picture of Ken Buck without hair. And it's not just without hair here, it's without eyebrows, eyelashes, without hair. I could have been on the Olympic swim team. In fact, I felt like I was no longer a mammal. I had so little hair. But the most insidious lie that the liberals use against us is what they call, or what the pundits call, the war on women. That is the most insidious. That is the most just evil. Because, you know, conservatives care about women, and we care about men, and we care about freedom, and we fight for, in Colorado, and I'm sure in your states, we fight for lower electricity bills. We fight for school choice. We fight for the kinds of things that single moms trying to raise a family need. And for the other side to try to pin this on us is ridiculous. I've been a prosecutor for 25 years. I can tell you, folks, it's the Republican Party that is standing up in the state legislatures and demanding the victims' rights are guaranteed. It was Ronald Reagan who passed the Victims' Rights Act in Congress that was the example for the states. It's Republicans that value victims far more than the criminals who hurt them. And it's the Democrats, it's the liberals who keep trying to expand the constitutional interpretation to protect the evil that does harm to us. And I think that we have to take this issue on, and we have to take it on head on, and we have to take it on our terms. And my campaign has produced 2 videos. And I want to show you both those videos, and then I'll summarize, and I'd love to answer some questions. But if we can do the videos now, I'd appreciate it.
In the early morning hours of May 12, 2006, a stranger broke into my apartment, held me for 2 hours, and raped me. He had my face covered, and I can't scream for help, but I can gain as much information as I can about this person. The attacker was caught 3 weeks later, and from there the case progressed into the criminal justice system.
Kim was just adamant that she wanted to go forward, and she wanted to see justice done. Kim testified. She was very strong in her testimony.
Finally, justice was done.
The defendant was convicted. He'll be in prison for the rest of his life.
It was the work of Ken Buck and the Weld County District Attorney's Office that let me be a person again. I had decided that I would release my name to the media because if I can help just one other person not have to experience what I did, this will all be worth it.
Kim made the courageous decision to become an advocate for rape victims.
I wanted to help people. I wanted to get involved in the criminal justice system somehow. Went back for my master's in criminal justice, and then I was hired on at the district attorney's office in 2012.
And she's doing a great job.
When I first met him, Ken was compassionate. Then Ken was supportive. And finally, Ken was inspirational.
We've got one more.
My ex-husband had told me that morning that he was going to kill me and he was going to dismember me and put me into the forest so that the bears would eat me and I would never be found. And so I got on a plane with my kids with a one-way ticket to my parents' house to get away from him. My daughter sat down next to me and she put her hand on my leg and she said, "Mom, you know, I know why this bad thing happened to us." She said that God gave us this situation because we were going to be able to take it and help other moms and other kids feel safe and feel like they could get away from people who were hurting them.
Her husband was prosecuted for the assaults he had committed to Stephanie as well as the assaults on Stephanie's daughter.
I'd never been in a court in my entire life, but Ken Buck's team really came beside me and helped me to get through those rough months. He was sentenced to 16 years for abuse that he had committed to both the children and I.
As a result of that case, I learned about a problem with the law.
Ken found a gap in the law. There was a protective order that said the bad guy can't contact his wife, but he could contact his daughter, and he was using that to torment his family. Ken saw it, Ken knew it needed to be fixed, and he got the job done.
After Stephanie and her daughter testified, there was overwhelming support for the legislation.
Working with Ken and his office really empowered my daughter and I, and even my son, to be able to feel confident to go out and speak to people about these events and truly take what my daughter told me of, you know, there's a reason why this happened to us and we can help other people.
You know, folks, we need to speak the truth. And we need to speak the truth loud, and we need to speak the truth clearly if we're going to take back this country. Mark Twain said, "In the beginning of a change, the patriot is a scarce man and hated and scorned. And in the end, the timid join him because there is no reason to fear." We need to make sure that we stand with RedState, that we stand with Eric Erickson, and we speak the truth loudly. Thank you very much.
I want to ask the first question. What can we do? Colorado is such a swing state. What can we do to help you?
That's the question?
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I'll write a check. I've given money, but what can the crowd do here, even if they're not in Colorado, to help get Ken Buck in Congress?
Yeah, you know, one of the great things about the time that we live in right now is that people in Colorado read RedState, people in Colorado read blogs, people in Colorado read the comments on the Denver Post articles. It doesn't matter where you are in the country if you want to contribute. to the effort in Colorado. You can go on to the Denver Post and put a comment in. You can go on to RedState. You can write articles. You know, obviously politics is a money-driven business, and if you can write a check to candidates in Colorado, that's great. And I have to tell you, the most important thing to me is your prayers. If you pray that this country is turned around, that God sheds his grace on this country once again, hopefully that Colorado will regain its common sense and move in the right direction.
Anybody else got a question? All right, I'm going to make a point, and I'm going to put you on the spot. I have determined today, I never thought I could say this, but I can now. I'm smarter than Ken Buck. And I want you to know why I'm smarter than Ken Buck. I, too, got my wife a gun, but I didn't buy her any bullets. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. Now, folks, we're going to take a break, and at 11 o'clock, please be back here at 11 o'clock. A dear friend of mine, Drew Ryan, is going to be here from the Madison Project. It's a group I know and love, and I want you to hear from him. And then after him, we've got a really special guest for you. Some of you asked me who this guy is. I'll tell you who he is, and you'll know immediately. Jim Bridenstine of Oklahoma is the congressman who tried to go to the military bases in Oklahoma and see where they were keeping the kids who were coming across the border, and the Obama administration would not let him go, and he's going to tell us about that, tell us what he's seen. Also, you should know that while we've been in here, the president, let me just read you a text message that I got. The president has addressed the nation on Iraq, and the president said he was going to pursue a broader strategy in Iraq, and the text message I got said, for the sake of the Iraqis, I hope it's not the same one he's pursued here. So there you go. Maybe the president will improve their economy and put ISIS out of business. So, all right, go take a break. Be back here at 11.